March 10th Board of Health public hearing. First issue on the agenda is to approve the February 11th minutes. Give us a second to review, then I'll look for a motion.
Motion to accept.
Anderson, the presidency, giving it to John. I second the motion. Taking the chairmanship back. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next issue. I guess we'll hand it over to you, Michelle, or Lisa, 44 Allen Ave.
Yes, and he, Mr. Bianco is here.
And Nancy, the tenant, also came along too.
Oh,
If you have any questions for her.
okay. We'll listen to Lisa first.
Oh, hi, Lisa.
Hi. So on, it looks like 1/17/20, we received a request for determination of lead hazards from a Jessica Gutierrez, who said she lives at 44 Allen Ave, apartment number 1, has a child with a birth date of 11/16/19, requesting a D-lead determination. We went to the unit, we determined that there was lead in the unit. We sent orders to the property owner and a copy of the orders to the tenant. From what I understand from the landlord and your Jessica's mom, correct? That Jessica isn't actually living there. However, as I explained in the lead poisoning prevention regulations set out by the state and under Mass General Law 460.100, owners are required to obtain a letter of full compliance or a letter of interim control in the following circumstances. The owner receives an order to correct violation pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 111, Section 194, because the premises is occupied by a child younger than 6 years old at the time of the lead determination, enforcement procedure, or code enforcement lead inspection upon which the order is based. So at the time, this woman said that she lives in this unit. She allowed us entry into the unit at the time that was discussed. And she allowed us into the unit and she allowed us to do a lead determination.
The daughter? Or the, Oh, okay.
Jessica, you know.
Okay.
I've spoken with Childhood Lead Poisoning Prevention Program. Their feeling is it is not up to the Board of Health or Inspectional Services Department to make legal determinations on who tenants are, because an infant child would never be on a lease. You know what I mean? Like, no infant is ever going to be on somebody's lease. Usually people under 18 aren't even on leases.
Who's on the lease now?
I don't know, because we don't check that.
Oh.
Yeah, so someone's going to
Oh,
finish.
yeah, she's done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, the Childhood Lead Poisoning Prevention Program has suggested that I advise people who want to appeal these orders that they can go to court and get a judge to say that that person was not a tenant at the time that we did the lead determination, and then we can throw the lead determination out or just close it as something that we cannot enforce. But under the Mass General laws, at the time of the inspection, there was a child under 6 living in the unit. Orders were sent. So even though she may no longer live there, the unit is still under orders. From what I understand, she was looking for help from one of the homeless programs, and she needed a letter saying that there was lead in the unit. So she called the Board of Health to have us come out so she could get a letter, so she could then get assistance to move.
You want to come up to the
Yeah,
video?
sure.
What'd you say your name?
Edward Bianco, I'm the owner. I've owned it for 30 years. Nancy is a tenant that's lived there for 5 years. The daughter was not on the lease or tenancy of will. She came because she had a baby. She needed to stay with the mom.
Your mom?
The mother of Jessica, who had the baby. The baby's no longer there, it's with her sister, and they're looking, now they got assistance for that. So I'm in a situation where I have to evict her because it's illegal, the occupant is illegal on the property, so broke the tenancy of will, it's not a lease. So she faces, you know, I don't want to throw up, but I have no choice because I have to figure out what I'm going to do. I can't afford I don't rent to families or children. I try to avoid it for lead paint issues. I don't disqualify anybody, but I know there's lead there. The house was built in 1880. Every single facet of the house is old. Just impossible for me to be leaded. So the baby and the daughter should not be there. They're not on the lease, only she's on the lease. It clearly states that it's a tenancy at will, 30 days. There's not a year lease. I'd like to get some assistance to say, go to the judge if that's the legal remedy, but the person doesn't live there, so why would I need to be led the property?
Well, at the time of the inspection, the person was there. That's what
But unknown to you.
Unknown to me. It was not legal, unknown to me. I found out by accident in January there was a plumbing issue, and I said, I heard some noise, and I brought, who's there? And I looked, opened the door, I saw the daughter with a baby. Right, you never told me. You know, I said, wait, this is lead in here. So I was the one that said, you know, this had to resolve. I said, I know the baby's not crawling anywhere, but at some point, so you need to find housing or something, I'll help you best I can. So I always been a nice guy. Now I'm in this bad situation where I have the Massachusetts law that says I have to be led when there's nothing I can do at the time. Now the tenant's not there, the daughter's not there, the baby's not there. So she did that because she was told that's how she gets housing. So I was, you know, the laws are, that's the way they're meant. So I'm in a bad situation and I can't afford it. So I'd like to see if the Board of Health will give me a reprieve or get more time or go to the judge and court because I can't afford to.
Can you read me the part again? I'm sorry, Ron. Can you read the part again of that the Board of Health does not have the right to?
And the other thing is they both went to the Board of Inspection of Service and asked to withdraw the complaints.
Yeah.
And they got a letter that was withdrawn, but I don't know what legal.
You didn't get a letter saying it was.
You printed out something for me.
Okay, so what happened is you came in and withdrew it after we did the D-lead determination.
Because she was leaving.
Right, but what you need to understand is you can't withdraw a complaint after the inspection's been done. Because now you're asking the Board of Health to say, oh, we didn't see that.
Once it becomes.
No, she was no
No, I understand.
leaving. My reasoning.
Well, I
She wasn't
understand,
leaving.
I understand that, but you have to look at it from my perspective. I now know that the time that I went there, a child under 6 was living there in a unit with lead.
But
So
I mean,
you gotta
let's
print out from the
make up an
system.
example. Any random person can go to someone's house and say that, even if it's a tenant or not. I mean, doesn't make sense. So even if it wasn't a daughter, it was a visitor, and they want to get some special assistance, they can go to anybody's house and say, I have a baby there, get the inspection, then they leave. Then,
Well,
so
they would
I think it
have
has to be, I think there's something wrong with the.
They would have to sign the form, they would have to get a phone call, they would have to have an inspection scheduled, and they would have to be there at the time to let us into.
Why wasn't I made aware?
Because the law does not require us to notify you as the landlord. So again, 460, 100, Department of Public Health. The owner, except as provided in 105 CMR 460B through D, the owners of a dwelling unit or residential premises containing dangerous levels of lead in any paint, plaster, or other accessible structural material are required to obtain a letter of full compliance or a letter of interim control in the following circumstances. The owner receives an order to correct pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 111, 194. So this sanitary code reflects Mass General Law, so it's twofold. It's the state sanitary code and it's Mass General laws. Because the premise is occupied by a child younger than 6 years old at the time of the lead determination enforcement procedure or code enforcement lead inspection upon which the order is based.
But they lived there, not on the lease, not on any documentation. They were
Most
allowed-
newborns are not on leases.
But the daughters has to be on the lease.
She doesn't have to be on leash, you just said.
She's older than 18.
You just said there's no leash, you said it's a tenancy at will.
It is a tenancy will,
So
why
how is
would-
there a lease?
No, it's a tenancy will.
So how is there a lease?
I call it lease, but they do call it tenancy will. What, tenancy will, only she's on there, the daughter's not on
Do
there,
you
so.
do you have any legal document? Do you have a legal document?
Yes. I didn't, in fact, I called today to see if the appointment was still, but I left it on my desk. I can provide all the legal documentation. I even have,
My suggestion is to have him go to court and let a judge determine it.
Let me speak on this.
yeah, sure. I need your assistance because I'm,
Once it's been determined by a neutral party, which is the Board of Health, we don't care about your rent, we don't care about your tenant, we just care about conditions. If there's a dangerous situation in a child in the unit, we have no choice.
I get it.
Let me finish now. So, even though you didn't know, we believe you didn't know, you can't expect a mother not to let her daughter just have granddaughter not to move in. They didn't know it was that paint, they didn't know this whole thing was gonna hit the fan. They're probably not gonna find a judge that says, don't be let let someone maybe get sick. Once there's an identified dangerous condition, once lead is found to be there, and any child under the age of 6 is there, bang, it blows up like that. Two things. Have you ever inquired through Lynn Housing Authority about the lead program?
there's no
You don't
funds.
have it anymore?
I would have did it because it's a good thing to do anyways, but like I said, I only.
When's the last time you checked it out? Recently?
When I first got a call from the city, I asked.
Okay.
They used to give you an $8,000 grant, so that's,
Because I thought I was told that they just got another round.
They did, and I know at one point they did targeted neighborhoods, but then I think they got some additional money, and they're doing a little bit more, so I don't know all the guidelines off the top of my head.
I mean, we can't negate the order. The order is based on conditions. We can't give you a letter to bring to the judge to say, I'll give him a break, he didn't know, and I'm kind of
yeah, no, it's,
getting a little off the track here. And you're guilty without knowing anything. You might want to talk to somebody too. I don't know if you can be a victor because someone's making you de-let it. I don't know if you
Not a
can-
victor.
I don't know if you can do that.
But-
Even though it had nothing to do.
no, but I'm not the lead, because right here, the letter says I have a right to quit because there's another tenant in the property, there's only supposed to be one person in that house.
Right, but
So
what I'm
that's-
trying to tell you is I spent 18 years in housing court, they're never gonna tell her to get out, because you're gonna be able to prove that someone was there.
So-
It's a difficult thing.
Yeah,
So you're saying that Jessica is a tenant in order to evict her, but you're saying she's
no,
not
I'm
a
thinking of
tenant?
mom.
Oh, you're a
She
victim.
allowed another person in the property that wasn't part of the tenancy as well.
Got it. So that's your choice to do, unfortunately, if that's what he's choosing to do. I mean, that's your decision based on your
I don't
relationship.
want to do it, that's why I'm trying to
No.
resolve.
Oh, right, but
Waste
but
of
if
money
you don't have to do that, or
$20,000
you're not a
to
victim?
get over it. Be careful. Talk to the lawyer first before you go, get some guarantees, because I'm telling you,
Well, let me,
it's not gonna happen.
Well, I'm just trying to find, is there some other avenue, I'm trying to make this work.
So, John,
Yeah.
I have a question. If he has lead, he knows he has lead, and he has a written agreement saying he's renting an apartment to one person, there's one person only, and it's an adult, is there any reason he has to de-lead if there are no children?
If they're what?
If there are no children in the apartment?
No. So
There
that
are-
was why my suggestion
Okay,
is.
so if he has a legal document, a rental agreement, which states that there is one tenant,
No,
No.
because someone called you
She
saying
called.
there is land.
She
you went to
signed
the
paper
business.
saying she lives there. She's opened the door and let me in. She gave me permission to do a lead determination. So my suggestion was, and it still is, because I talked to Childhood Lead Poisoning Prevention Program, the landlord can go to court, we can give him time to go to court, and have a judge determine that Jessica, who signed the form, had no right to sign the form because she was not a tenant. Let the judge tell us that, and then at the time, then I can say, well, this determination was not done at a time where there was a child under 6 living there. I don't believe that we should make that determination, given what the Mass General laws are and the state sanitary code are. If a judge wants to say that, That's fine with me.
You might get somewhere on that, when you have a written document saying.
Yeah.
She does,
She
she can attest, because they use that document for her to get housing for the daughter.
Yes.
You know, I don't
I knew
sign
that
anything.
she couldn't be there when she was there when I was helping.
In my lease, it says it's not,
Stay in my apartment.
Right.
Because I knew I was aware it wasn't delayed.
Right.
when she moved in, it says in the,
Okay.
it says in
So
my
I'm not
document,
there
I don't have a
anymore,
certificate.
but she was trying to get assistance to a program. Yeah, and they needed proof of reasoning why, and an emergency situation. I said, well, it's not, it's not delayed.
There's lead.
So now they said, we're gonna prove that, the program wanted her to prove that, so she came down to City Hall and said, I need proof, I'm trying to get assistance, and
Not
she
knowing.
wasn't aware
Not
that it was
knowing
gonna
it was gonna
cause this
cause you
whole
a
big thing.
Well, I think one big thing brought up that it wasn't explained to the daughter the situation, what, that's where.
At that time when she came,
Listen, your hands are tied just like us.
Yeah.
It's your daughter. She just had a baby, your grandchild. What are you gonna say? No? No?
but I was aware she could not stay there, but he's not mobile, he's not on the floor, he's not, it's not being thrown off the wall or anything.
Because my tenancy will clearly states that this does not have a DLED certificate. And children under 6 are not allowed. Unless.
That's all she's trying to do,
So-
just trying to prove, yeah, you need
I
some
mean, I feel for
consistency,
you.
I can't
I know,
stay
I know
here.
And I wish we could do something.
So what I
I wish we
question-
could do something for you, but unfortunately, it sounds like we're gonna have to
Are
advise
you
you to
not
go to
going
the
to evict
courts.
her if you don't have to delay? Or are you evicting her no matter
That
what?
doesn't matter, though.
Doesn't matter, I would never evict her, I keep a low rent
No,
because she's
I
by
understand,
herself.
I understand that, but you kept saying you have to evict her now. But
Because
you,
she broke the
oh, so
tenancy.
regardless of whether you de-let her or not, she's evicted?
I never said that. I said
Oh,
she
well, no,
broke
because
it.
you were saying that you have to evict her.
Because she has a person in the property that
Because
should
she,
be there.
right, I was just asking you,
If
regardless.
the daughter the daughter said she was, she's living with her sister, so it's only her, I would not evict her in that situation, but now I'm stuck in a situation where if the court says you have someone there, then I'm saying, well, I have no one there at all, because it could come, so I don't know, I have to talk to a lawyer,
Right.
what's the right thing to do. So my legal right is I can't evict because of that. I don't want to evict, I don't want anybody in the property, because.
And then if he has no tenant, does he have to de-let?
Yeah, he's like, that unit is under orders to de-let.
But if he has no tenant?
Because at the time of the inspection, that's what the law says. At the time of the
Once it's
inspection.
identified with the.
That's why my suggestion to the board is to grant
That's
him more
crazy.
time to go through to court, to have a judge say that Jessica was not a legal tenant at the time.
And maybe,
I mean,
we can find money.
The mother of the daughter with him to court saying, my daughter had a baby, she just can't stay with her. I don't know if the judge is gonna do it, but.
I'll do whatever I can and see. I need more time because the order is 30 days and I didn't get the letter for 60 days, so I'm stuck.
Well, the first part of the order is 60 days, but the 60 days started from the time that I knew you got the letter.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I need more time to figure out.
Yeah,
and then-
I would need a motion to allow more time on this complaint, to allow Mr. Bianco to, try to go through the district court to get some kind of resolution there.
Another 60 days?
Yeah.
And 90?
I think we should do 60 days and then maybe come back to the next meeting if we need to.
Okay.
And you can, if depending on.
Well, how long does it take to go to district, to go into court? I mean, I guess that's the issue. Will you give me time because the baby's not there?
We're-
The court says 6 months. Will the Board of Health allow me until I have a court date?
I think you'll need to bring us what you have from the court.
But I don't know, right.
Right, so we're trying to vote to grant you 60 days to get this process started in
Okay.
court. And then in 60 days,
I got
you can show up with whatever document you have, the Board of Health can review it, and I'm sure if you're going through the process, they'll be more than happy to grant you more time.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all, I don't have no choice. But I would like any assistance I get from the city, if I do need to delay, maybe get on a priority list or whatever because of the situation. I mean,
So the city itself doesn't
Remember
do,
this,
you,
I'm sorry.
no, that's all right.
Our lead determination just says whether there's something up or is there a specific itemized report telling them everywhere where it's at?
So during a lead determination, you have to do up to 5 spots.
Okay.
And if you don't find any, you have to do a total of 20 spots.
Okay.
We did find it quickly. Your unit's beautiful. It's all very old, beautiful woodwork. I walked in, I was like, There's tons of lead in here.
That's probably an old house.
But it's beautiful, it was well kept, and it really was a very nice house, and, so we kind of knew, so I believe we only had to do 5 spots.
So off the record, if you ever do decide to delay, you still gotta hire a company to probably test to tell you every single spot.
No, I want to hire a company anyway so I can determine what the cost is going to be, so I can go to the court. So I would like assistance to find out who's a good inspector so I can get a real look at the whole house.
We can't
Yeah,
refer,
some-
but,
I'll call the Lynn.
Yeah.
Housing.
yeah, Lynn House has a list of testers, letters, and everything.
So I plan to do that, so at least I know the gravity is. The problem is the house is really old windows, everything's old. It's all wood, it's all painted years ago, inside and out. That's the
Okay, so
it's not
you-
$8,000, it'll be $25,000.
I'd like to make a motion to extend
To give them 60
give
days.
60 additional days.
Yep.
Okay,
And then how do I go to court or this goes to the district court, they'll set it up, how's it work?
You need to go to court.
No, how do I set the scale, what do I do? Because I live in Connecticut, I'm not here a lot, so I need to figure out what
I don't know.
So
where does he have to go to court? Lynn District Court?
Yeah, I would go to Lynn District Court, yeah.
but what do I do? I get a letter,
I would get a lawyer. I honestly, I'm not legal representation. I don't want to give you misinformation. You could probably go over to Lynn District Court and go to the clerk's office on the right and ask them how to start the process,
Okay.
but I don't know for sure. Yeah.
Because you have the order, right?
huh?
You have the order.
Yeah, I have the order.
So you show the clerk the order and tell them you want to appeal the order, and then Board of Health inform you to bring it to the judge.
Okay.
Okay? They court may ask you the particulars, like you just told us, they may not, I don't know. I'm not an attorney either. But, okay, so we're relinquishing the chairmanship, I'm seconding that motion, I'm taking the chairmanship back, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So is
Good
it,
luck,
si-
sir.
No, thank you. Nancy.
And Mr. Bianco, we will notify you of the May Board of Health meeting.
Okay,
Okay.
we're gonna send it to 6 Grizzly Road in Winchester.
Tell me what that is again.
6 Grizzly,
yes.
How do I spell that?
R-I-L-S-E-Y, Grizzly Road in Winchester, Mass.
Yeah, it's on the letter, we have the
Yeah,
letter.
there was
Oh,
3
okay.
addresses, yeah.
Michelle has the correct address. I had the other addresses for you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you moved, yeah.
It's this
Oh, man,
Thank you, good luck. What did you have? Go on point.
Oh, boy.
I know.
Well, thank you, law's a law.
Yeah.
Good luck, thank you.
Yeah, for- I'm sure, we have had this happen before, so,
Did it work out?
they're still in the process.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not good.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, next issue on the agenda is La Parada.
And Mr. Tolentino is here. Lisa can start, though.
So, come on.
Yeah, come on up to the table so we can hear you. Can you give me 1 second to read his appeal letter?
Yeah, yeah.
Later on, you'll see later on. You'll see. Keep reading. I want to see this before.
We have it for February 19th.
Maybe?
It should be the first one.
It should be a
After
top
the letter.
Okay, that's what I was thinking.
Keep going.
This is Dave, or did you read it?
You don't, they don't have that.
The 19th?
Yeah. Here's the 19th.
So you might have to find something.
You see, you don't want to know what it is here?
Say that again?
After.
You mind sitting up there?
Yeah. But
Lisa, I mean, Sean.
I know, I wish we could. It was easy.
Ron, do you have the 19th?
I think I have.
It's the first one.
No, let's see, he does.
Oh, he does. You
Ju-
don't?
just shortchange
How
me.
come?
I don't know.
All right, so, again, we're gonna try to do this in a fair fashion. What I would like is, for my old memory, as I can call it, well, they used to, if Lisa, if you could just briefly, quickly tell us how we got here again to remove, I know we talked about it at the last meeting, I believe it was a stipulation when La Parada was in here before that after a clean inspection for 1 year's time period, I believe, if I'm wrong, correct me, that there could be no failed inspections.
So, as you know, La Parada's been called before the board numerous times. The inspection that Mr. Tolentino had prior to February 5th, 2020 was a good inspection. That was when he was being inspected monthly, because he was given kind of a last chance by the Board of Health to not have the same repeat violations that date back to approximately 2017. Inspection went well. We stopped the monthly inspections. We went out there on February 5th to just begin the new set of routine inspections for the year. And again, we found the same violations that occur dating back to 2017. Yep, there was 3 priority and priority foundation violations, which included sinks, no paper towels available at the hand sink in the kitchen area, which if we had been dealing with coronavirus at that time. No paper towels available in the men's toilet room. The rice hot holding was another issue, was not at the right temperature. Raw chicken and raw beef were not at the right temperatures. And grease accumulation on the hood vents.
What was the date on that one?
February 5th, 2020. There was a re-inspection on February 19th, 2020, in which everything was corrected. But the routine inspections are really the inspections that, when you don't know we're coming and we haven't pointed out what's wrong, show how you're running the business. At one point, the board had said to him, to Mr. Tolentino, one more chance, or we're dropping your food permit down, we're downgrading, or we're taking it back. He managed to get 1 good inspection in, and we're back to the same inspections that we've had for the past couple of years. So when we brought it up at last month's board meeting, just as an FYI, the inspection wasn't great. You guys asked to have him called in. So I sent them the notice.
Do we have minutes for the prior meeting when we explained to Mr. Parada?
Yeah, I have minutes here in the package. Yeah.
Thanks.
So October 8th, 2019. Inspection on 10/1/2019, no violations noted. All fines are now paid, we're up to date. La Parada will continue to be a type 4 establishment. Lisa will continue to keep the board updated in regard to inspections. That was in October of 2019. I believe that's when, I can't think of his name, when your attorney came. Lesperance, yes, I knew it was the attorney. September 10th, 2019, that was September. La Parada, represented by attorney David Lesperance, 60 Andrew Street. Discussion concerning ongoing violations with inspections. Last chance to rectify situation prior to the October 8th meeting. An inspection on site before the October 8th meeting. La Parada must have clean inspection, no issues found. Business of serving food to be stopped if there are any violations. Become a type 1. La Parada must have it should be CFPM during business hours at all times. All fines are to be paid to the city prior to the October 8th meeting. Motioned and seconded.
And that was October 8th?
That was September 10th.
Okay.
Yep. Then we have April 2019. At this time, North Shore Latino Business Association was present. Mr. Tolentino had hired Sergio Espinoza to work with him. Motion was made at the, April 30th, 2019 meeting that effective immediately. La Parada was going to be reinstated to a type 4.
and that prior to the June meeting, a letter to be provided to the board by Sergio regarding the progress in training and resolving issues, and that there will be no less than 4 spot inspections at the expense of the owner over the next 120 days. So the very last inspection was clean, and then starting this year, we went back to repeat violations. And I do just want to let you know that, excuse me. Per the food code, summary suspension of permits with notice, which this is, the Board of Health or its authorized agent, as determined by the Board of Health, may issue a notice to suspend a permit to operate a facility or one or more particular operations of the facility. Each of the following grounds, individually or severally, shall constitute full and adequate grounds to suspend a permit. Failure to comply with the requirements of 105 CMR 590.
Okay. So, we're going to give you a chance, sir, to say what you say. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. As I see it, there were some serious issues. The gentleman came in, said, give me a chance, we're going to clean it up. It's an important business. We need to be able to serve that food to survive in that location. And there were serious things back then, too. The temperature issues are something that make people sick, and that's like a soap in the sink. I'm not going to shut something down for no soap in the sink, but if food can be held improperly to make someone sick, it's a different monster. So, I believe he appealed. If I remember correctly, we got some phone calls from some people saying, give another chance. We said, we're kind of up against the wall here. The violations are the violations. Long story short, we did say, Dave Lesperos was here, we said, okay, for 1 year's time, clean inspections, we're going to go more often as guidance to tell you how you got to keep it, because at the end of that 1 year, we're not coming every month. You're going to come just like you come to everybody else, whenever the time calls.
So Dave Lesperance was the last thing that we did. We had ordered La Parada. They had been working with Sergio Espinosa of the North Shore Latino Business Association.
Right.
That was when they had to do the 4 routine inspections.
Right.
So 3 of them did not go well. The very last one was when Dave Lesperance came and said, can we have one more chance?
Right.
And then the one after that went well.
And then we did a monthly until February 5th, right?
No, we did them monthly prior to Dave Lesperance.
Okay.
So prior to October, we did them
So just on a normal
monthly.
inspection.
So he's basically had 1 good inspection in about a year.
But what I'm trying to get at is, we kind of, which we don't want to do, establish a probationary period to do good for all this time and do lower it. Correct?
That was the impression I was under. The Board of Health said, we want you to maintain doing well, not just for this time period. That was why I brought to you the February 5th inspection, to show you that, once this kind of probation period ended and there was no more threat of having to go to the Board of Health, we end up with the inspection that we ended up with on February 5th.
I mean, an observation, this has been an ongoing issue. I mean, this is all your restaurant. I've been on this board for a long time. There's no other restaurant in the city that has a file this thick with issues. And some of the ongoing issues that I see going through it are issues with the hand washing sinks and proper towels to dry the hands. Hand sanitation's extremely important in preventing spread of illness. Everyone's becoming more aware of that now with the coronavirus. It's also true with the flu. The other recurring problem has been the temperatures that foods are being held at, both cold and hot. And it's been a recurring problem for at least a couple of years. I know that people feel, you feel like you do this at home, people don't get sick, it's really not a problem. But there's reasons that those guidelines, it does increase the risk of bacterial contamination of that food item that's being stored at the improper temperature. And eventually, it's very possible that many people could get ill from that. And what I struggle with is, I don't want to put you out of business. No one does. But on the other hand, with this much evidence that food has not been held at the proper temperature repeatedly, if someone were to get sick, I would feel personally responsible. I really would. I mean, at this point. So, I mean, I struggle with it.
Why don't you, Mr. Tolentino, did I say that right?
Yeah.
Why don't you state your case for the plea?
Yeah, I understand that every time that I come here, we're going to pass, and I've been paid all my fine on the past. I take around for $15,000 to pay only $8,000 down here. And I buy a freezer and buy everything. So what I'm looking at is to get punishment, not for the 17, not for the 18, not for the 19. I mean, I'm looking forward to go. If my inspection was on February 5, and I got 3 violations, which was the people was struck inside. And yes, the freezer was a little concerned, but they're brand new, but they was opening. The lady, which was the inspector, told me in 24 hours, send me the paper that the technician see it, that's working in good condition. I did. And but I received a letter before my re-inspection, which in my re-inspection was 0 violations. Those 3 violations was on the thing. And I noted also that on January 10, there was an amendment of the food grading program. I never received any grade. If it's at 1, 2, or 3, or A, B, or C. They said that I had to start with 450 points.
That was just to let you know that the food grading program was going to be reinstated. At that point, it had not been reinstated yet. That was informational so that you could know what to expect.
So, and then I didn't receive that either. Between the re-inspection, I just received a letter to shut down. I have this loan to pay, and also I've been closed from the date that she said to me, from the 24th. So,
You've been closed since the 24th?
the food.
You put an appeal in, that means
Well, I didn't know.
Okay, but you've done this before. You've been through this process before.
So my lawyer,
Well, I don't know why your lawyer's not here.
because I don't have no money.
Okay, well, Francisco, you've been through this process before. You know that when you submit your appeal, it puts everything on hold and you could stay open.
No, I didn't know that.
Well, you should have known that because it's happened 3 or 4 other times.
I don't
So if
know.
you're closed, I'm surprised that you didn't know that you could stay open when you put your appeal in.
Well, we never said he had to close, we're just downgrading his food.
No, we
right?
didn't.
Yeah, I
No,
didn't-
well, no, actually,
Well,
what I
that's-
said was the date of the downgrade of permit from type 4 to type 1 is effective Monday. So it didn't say close, and when he put the appeal in, that meant that everything was on hold and that this downgrade would not happen till the meeting. And that is something that Mr. Tolentino should be aware of, because you've gotten, I can count how many times you've gotten a version of this letter in this package.
Yeah,
Let's see, 1,
Everything went in order on top.
Nobody to see my past. I'm being paid, I'm being suffered, I'm being followed, everything that they said to me to do. It will happen in any restaurant that you go, that don't have a frozen food, you go to the fry, it will happen because it's fresh food every time, you're moving. So it will happen 2 violations, And then we have the inspection again, we have all the time we have, no one have 100%, no one here in the United States, no one have 100% because it's like that. It's not from, I understand.
Let me interrupt you for 1 second. You're a little bit different than everybody else because we almost closed you down on the fourth of the allegations of your file. So, you know,
I have.
you're in a little bit of a different ballgame because you had some major problems before, which we said, we're supposed to close you down because of these things, but we're not going to. We're going to give you a chance to buy your new freezer, clean up your act, hire Sergio, do whatever you got to do to run a business according to the law. So you kind of backing us into a corner because we have to support the inspection component of our board when they say, the biggest thing that bothers me on this letter right here is any holding temperature. I mean, they're all bad. Core violations and core violations is bad, but if you got food sitting out at an improper temperature, I mean, it's just a matter of time before something.
It was correct inside because we throw it away. She told me throw it away.
You don't understand. She's not here and didn't tell you.
No.
I was just gonna say, if she wasn't there to tell you to throw it away, they would have kept it.
I don't send it because I see it was a little chicken.
But you weren't there at the inspection.
I don't want to do this back and forth. I just want to be the correct way, fair way, and for real.
I think I remember.
I'm looking to legally what is my choice. Legally, I want to do something else because I feel like it cannot be always 2017, 2018, 2019. I pay all my file. I pay everything. I'm looking to see me grade me A, B, or C.
We don't, that's not, excuse me, that is not an option, because
Okay.
grading is not, it's not in play as of yet.
Yeah, I was from the...
But regardless of what grade you get, no, I was speaking, regardless of the grade that you get, you keep having the same serious repeat violations.
Which I understand.
And you keep saying you don't want to go backwards, but every inspection is backwards. We do an inspection, and then the next day we know that something happened yesterday, and you say, but that was yesterday. But it's always something. We shouldn't have to tell you. The last time you were in here, you said, the reason why the rice isn't kept warm enough is because the people are turning the food warmers down because they get so hot. We're gonna train our people not to do that.
And it's hard now.
Well, on February 5th, they must have done it again.
No, it's hard. If I'm ready, no problem with that.
The rice in the warmer unit in the kitchen at 125 degrees.
That rice, we throw it away because from the last
The food inspector had to tell you to throw it away.
Huh?
The food inspector had to tell you to throw it away.
We do that
No,
every time.
no, the
Every
pick
time.
discarded the rice during the inspection. So now you're not telling the truth, Mr. Tolentino.
Yeah, I always say the truth.
Okay, well then maybe because you weren't there, you don't understand what happened, but the food inspector put the person in charge discarded the rice that was at 125 during the inspection. So that means that whoever's in charge of your restaurant kept the rice and then didn't have it at the right temperature and kept it, and needed the food inspector to tell them it's not safe for people to eat, you need to throw it away.
Here's the problem, Mr. Tolentino. You say that you paid all your fines, and you know what? You can believe this or not believe this. We don't want you to have to pay a fine, we want you to pass.
I don't understand.
So the simple fact that you are paying all these fines paints the picture that you keep failing, because you keep getting fined. We're supposed to be as neutral as we can and only care about the health of the public health. Of course, we're human beings, we don't want to, like Dr. Sereni said, we don't want to put anyone out of business. That's not what we're here for. We'd rather give guidance, we'd rather give assistance, we'd rather help them to succeed. But it seems as if, but
That is
everything,
what I'm looking for.
it seems as if you're not succeeding and you keep failing.
I'm looking to follow, I'm looking to help. I'm looking you to be around me.
But you know,
Because-
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but this is an old story. We've heard the story before.
But it's there, it's
I
zero.
know, but do we wait till someone gets sick for you to say,
No.
oh, we should have listened? That's not fair to us. We gave you a chance that we don't give anybody. We don't want you out of business. Your attorney said, don't worry, I'm gonna stay on top of them, everything's gonna be good, we'll never have to worry about a failed inspection again, just give them a chance, just give them a chance. Well, we gave you the chance. Well, the chance came back to bite us in the butt, because you still failed. You know, and look, you work hard, you spend a lot of hours, you spend a lot of money, I don't doubt any of that. But I think, did you say that you had another restaurant somewhere else too, right? No?
I called it because I can't
He
afford
does.
it no more, pay what I can.
And you know, it's not my job to tell you what you should be doing or
But
what you shouldn't be
I
doing.
will,
But if it's costing you headache,
I
money, and aggravation,
got my daughter and I have to finish in college,
you know.
and this is my only way to do it.
Yeah.
And really, I gotta be honest. Sometimes, you know what I'm gonna say to you, especially Lisa. Sometimes I will handle myself because of you.
Mr. Tolentino, you should
Yeah,
talk to the,
that's true.
you should look at your employees and tell them
I'm
that.
telling the truth.
I'm trying to make sure that the city of Lynn can eat safe food. I have documentation here that goes back to 2017 that you don't do it right. So I would hope that you would never hang yourself because of me, but you are an adult that runs a business, and I'm sure you'll figure it out for yourself.
There's nothing in this world that makes you have to hang yourself, all right? Let's get that straight. Well, let me just finish, let me finish for a minute, all right?
I have
We may need to give you a blessing this time, maybe it's time to get out of this business.
I can't, where I go?
I don't know, but you can
No.
do this,
Yes, I can.
not according to the law, you can't.
I have 20 years doing this with the city of Lynn. With the city of Lynn, I have 20 years doing this. And it happens every single restaurant.
I know, but you see, that's a bad answer, that everybody else does it too, because you know what, if they do it, then we're gonna shut them down also.
And Mr. Tolentino, I stood in your kitchen and had a cockroach run up the side
1917.
of a shelf.
I paid for that.
and almost go in my hair. So I've never had that happen at another restaurant,
You closed me for 3 days.
because you had a cockroach
But I paid
infestation.
for it.
But that doesn't mean just
If
be,
we went to a car in front of the judge, and I said to the judge, I paid for it. I paid 30 years, I paid 20 years, I paid 5 years. You don't count this.
but you can't keep saying that to the police officer that you keep breaking the
Is
law.
there a wine in there, a liquor license?
Yeah, he has a full liquor license,
Huh?
full liquor license.
You can't survive with just liquor or no food.
No.
You could,
What?
okay, well, what you could,
Potato, fried potato, and chicken, and what is it? Dorito?
okay. So you are part owner of La Ruta, correct?
Huh?
You are part owner
No,
of,
I'm closing.
you closing La Ruta?
Yeah, for good.
Your brother's restaurant?
Yeah, because I was part of this.
Okay.
I can't hold no more. $15,000 I been doing because to fix it, everything else, to do things, to be. And
Because the suggestion could be to downgrade the permit so that he could get food from other places and hold the food. But, you know, I mean, like pizza, 4 hours.
I have a piece on the other side, it's not allow me to get pizza there.
I'm sorry, say that again?
There's a pizza place in the place.
Not allow me to do other
Oh.
Yeah, it's because they-
Oh.
I think that's right,
Oh.
right?
That makes sense, yeah, Little
You
Caesars
know,
is there.
we do feel bad, but the thing is, the simple fact that you are spending all that money, you're on the hook for all the legal fees and everything else, you gotta do what you gotta do to make sure that you don't end up here. I mean,
And total understand, total understand.
you put us in a tough spot.
They happen, and we happen again to anybody, even me. You're gonna find out hot, right, it's not hot enough, one, because it's back and forth, it's hard, it's working from 6 a.m. to
So let me ask you this, how come other restaurants don't get the same thing, we're not shutting them down?
They do. But not the same thing.
But so what, the inspector just got a hair on our ass for you? That don't make sense.
So, you know, while it is true that other restaurants have hot holding and cold holding violations at an inspection, it's not at every routine inspection. And this is the issue here. Serious and repeated violations is what they use in the food code, and that is the situation that we have here. It's not you had them in February of one year, and then you had them in October. It's every routine
I
inspection.
understand, but the routine inspection happened, but then my re-inspection was good.
But the re-inspection is just when someone already told you what was wrong. You didn't know what was wrong on your own.
All right, we are, myself, we said if there were issues that we would have to downgrade it. At least I don't know what your suggestion was about him being able to bring food from somewhere else. I'm willing to try that. I
Yeah.
don't know if something better than nothing, but
I mean, a type 1 would be low risk, and that would be all prepackaged goods, so that would be like the chips and the cookies. A type 2, because they do have certified food protection manager and allergen training, would allow them to get food that was prepared somewhere else and bring it in. I mean,
how does that work? If they get a tray of rice from somewhere else?
yeah, they would have to keep it hot. Yeah, you're right. They would have to keep it hot.
If we gave them that type of prepared food, if we saw that it wasn't kept hot, then we could downgrade them again in the later days, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know if I want to play this downgrade game all the time, but I'm trying to give them every chance to succeed if we can.
Well, maybe the type 2 is more ideal right now because at least it gives him a chance to show us that he can keep rice hot and he can do that, and maybe, yeah, whatever your time frame is. I mean, the Board of Health has the right to do that. Certainly, you don't have to give notice to increase someone's food permit. It's really only to downgrade or revoke or suspend.
Yeah, I do think it's fair, but.
I'm following your leading. I'm fine with either way. And I'm not trying to put you.
No, I think we should at least do that.
At least downgrade it to a 2.
No, that's the worst I would do is downgrade it to a 2.
That's the worst thing you would do?
Yeah, to him. I wouldn't downgrade it as far as I want.
Yeah, whatever you guys want to do.
Okay, speaking on the motion now. I have no problem with the 2 temporary getting prepared food somewhere else.
I just don't know if that'll be a viable option for him.
But I don't know that we're responsible to worry about.
No, we're not. We're not.
We're trying to give him a break somehow.
I know.
I mean, you gotta remember, Mr. Tolentino, if you live with a downgrade to a 2 and you get prepared food somewhere else and you bring it to your place, you're on the red flag list. Someone's gonna go out there and make sure you're doing that right too. You know what I mean? That's what happens when your mother sees you going to the refrigerator all the time and you're not supposed to. She watches to make sure you don't. So if you do have another way to purchase prepared foods and serve it, you still got the temperature requirements, all that. So when the inspector goes, she's gonna be looking for the same thing. And most likely, I would probably, I'm not a gambler, but bet she's gonna be there within the next 30 or 60 days if we give you it, to make sure for the public's sake that it's safe and edible. All right, so I guess am I looking for a motion? Are you ready to, you want to talk more on it? Or I'm fine with waiting or talking some more, it's up to you. I'm not trying to put you on the spot, John. I'm kind of okay with it.
What's a 3?
A 3 is basically a 4, but it's what we give to the schools and the nursing
So
homes.
it's a 2 or 4?
It's
Or
a
just
2
one,
or
which is just
4.
all prepackaged?
Correct. Correct.
So if we downgrade him to a 2 and on inspection, things were fine, he could
Yeah.
potentially go back to a 4 at some point.
Yep, you can downgrade them for whatever time period you want. We can do like we've done, you know, you could say for a certain time period, And then based on what the inspection showed during that time period, you can.
When would the next inspection be, if you were to downgrade to a 2?
Well, we can do inspections at your request at any time or any interval that you would like. Right now, we're doing the 2 mandated inspections per year per establishment. So he's already had 1 routine for the year. He would most likely have 1 more routine sometime in the second half of the year. But if you want, we can send the inspectors more frequently again to make sure he's doing that.
Remember, the multiple inspections serves 2 purposes too. It can prove that you're doing the right thing for in the future for us to maybe raise you again.
Yep.
Or it can prove, nah, he's not getting it downgraded.
Right.
So the ball's in your court.
Right.
If we gave you a 2 now, and you live with the 2, and you do what you're supposed to, you might be able to go back to a 1.
A
If
4.
you
A
don't-
four.
a 4. I'm sorry, I'm going the wrong way.
Yeah.
Which is
But
what we
if you-
want.
If you don't do the right thing, then we can downgrade it to a 1.
Yep.
Okay,
I mean, you don't, let me just throw something else in the mix. You don't have to permanently downgrade them, you could just suspend the permit for a certain amount of time. I mean, and if you wanted to let them stay at a 4, which is not my recommendation, but I want to put all the options out there and suspend the permit and just,
I'm not keeping it.
Okay.
I want to go to a 2
Yeah.
at the very least. I would like to go to a 2. I don't want to put any time period on it. If you think past within, after a year goes by or 6 months, whatever you think is reasonable, then you come and ask us to upgrade it. I don't want to have to us keep track and go back. If we downgrade him to a 2, and he passes for an extended period of time, I don't want to put a year, I don't want to put 6 months or anything, he has the right at any time anyhow to request to be upgraded. If we think it's too short, we'll deny it. If we think it's okay, we have written records that say he's doing great, he got the message, put him back to a 4. So I think that I don't want to put any time constraints, because I don't want it to happen that, oh, I get great for 6 months, I'm not going to be back for 3, and then he's going to be back there with the same mess. I don't want to do that. If we can help himself, then I'd rather do that. So I'm looking for a motion to downgrade it to a category 2 with the options in the future for Mr. Tolentino to request this board to move him back to a 4 after displaying consistent clean inspections. I don't want any time period in there, and if that sounds good for a motion, please.
do you want me to have the food inspectors to go out more frequently?
No, give him a little time, give him
Okay.
a couple of months, let him go in 3 months and
Okay.
see if he can do the 2 right or whatever, give him a chance.
Well, he's already had 1, so he's only due for 1 more this year.
Yeah. Well, we can do a special.
We absolutely can, that's what I'm asking. At some point, do you want to have that done?
Why don't you let him get 2 if he chooses to go underway and in a couple of months,
Okay.
unannounced, go take a look.
Okay.
And it's gonna serve 2 purposes. If it's good, say, yeah, he's really doing that too good, it'll be documentation to help him move back to a 4, if he requests it in the future. He may just say, forget it, I'm done with this, and we can't vote or pass things based on that. I'm just trying to give him a chance to find a path back to where he tried to be before. Okay, so the motion reads that we are going to downgrade him to a category 2
For next.
indefinitely until owner chooses to appeal to the board for an upgrade. He can do that whenever he wants. I would suggest 6 months of good reports will help us upgrade you. You know, I don't want just one, you know.
You don't need to.
Oh, you get it for a week, can you go back to be a 1 and a 4? Okay, so I think that motion is good, and I heard the motion, and let me give you the chairmanship. I second that motion. I'm taking the chairmanship back. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's the best we can do, so, you know, for right now. So the way it looks is, if you can do the 2 for a little while and display that you can, do it properly, you can come back here and ask you to put back to number 4. Prepare your own food. Right now, you can get food somewhere else, bring it to your restaurant, still maintain that food until much time, if you displayed to us, approve the report saying he's done good and whatever other changes, then we could contemplate moving back to a board.
So that will be possible if you have an inspection.
If you have that.
And
One inspection too, or
One
I
inspection.
will come in 6 months.
Well,
And
you're gonna get
I'll
another regular one within 6 months, but we may have them go up.
No, he's not gonna get one until probably the end of the year.
Right,
So,
but within 60 days or so, we're probably gonna send someone to make sure.
oh, we are.
Yeah, you're gonna make number 2 okay.
Got it. So you do want to have an additional,
I
okay.
don't want any specific time.
Okay.
Yes.
Whenever you got time, you probably.
No, we shouldn't let.
Right, but what I'm saying is you want more than just one more inspection this
Like at the
year.
end of the year, absolutely.
By the end of the year, yes.
Yeah, the one that
Yeah, let's see what the one,
Yep.
the interim one brings.
Yep.
We could be downgrading it after the interim.
Yep.
Let's hope not.
Or we could say.
No, that's fine. I get what you're saying, yep.
Yeah, what we want is for
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I
next
wasn't
inspection
able
to be
do
good, and then we
before.
upgrade it back to
Very
a
anxious to
4.
go
Yep.
back to where you were.
Any
There's nothing else we can do. I mean,
as satisfactory,
Right,
you know,
right.
inspections from.
Okay, what do we have next? On the agenda. Thank you, sir. Old business?
Health fees, again, if we could just, so as we move forward with the health fees, I think it's important to try to incorporate the time that Lisa spends, reviewing the permits, the time that the inspectors spend inspecting an establishment. So the fees need to compensate for the time.
Can we just raise the fees after that?
Yes. So I'm just looking for like the, and tell me if I'm saying this correctly, just that we need to, I just think that we need to have fees that compensate for the time that are put into the inspections, put into Lisa's time to review the permits, and things that go through that.
You have a great laugh face.
Struggling with that out
The
from
whole
the
time,
meeting.
the whole time. So that's
So,
what,
are you saying that you want to raise it again?
Yeah.
To compensate for the,
I think what Michelle is saying, that the schedule of fees that she gave you, that we looked at the past couple of months, didn't accurately reflect the cost
Yes.
of business.
Okay.
So, for instance, right now, food permit, we did not increase the food permit fees the last time we looked at them. But the current food permit fees are not covering the cost of the food inspectors in the inspections that are needed. So we're operating at a loss. So we needed to kind of look at that and do the calculations. So some of them are gonna change, that didn't change from last month, but some of them are still the same from last month, correct?
I think that they're all raised.
Even from last month?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't look at them, so I wasn't sure.
I'm sorry, yes.
so what, you want to vote on this now?
Yes, please.
So, old fees, new fees. Are old fees the old fees, or the old fees the ones that we approved last month?
Correct,
The old fees the ones we approved last month?
yes.
Can we,
Okay.
Sorry.
can we vote on this at the next meeting, give us some more information, Michael here? Or do you think you got enough time? Do you need this to get money now?
Yes, please.
I just.
Did we publish those fees that we approved last month?
No.
Okay.
I don't want to keep you here till 8:30. Where in the?
It's more, the food,
What page of the food? one?
second, page 2,
What was the number?
on the second page.
Yeah, what number?
63.
63.
So 63 the change you want to make, or all these
Yeah,
changes?
they all changed, see?
60, no, just the food ones.
Oh, just the food. So the old fees were,
We're from the
we already
last.
approved these ones.
Correct.
Oh, that's
I'm
what I asked you, and
sorry,
I
didn't.
misinterpreted.
Oh, all right.
So all
Yes.
these two, right? Oh, yeah.
So that a type 1,
So number 63 is a change from what we approved last month.
yes.
I see what you're saying.
You
Okay.
approved 150,
All
but
right, 66.
$200 would reflect would reflect the inspection time.
So when we
and
raised
leases.
these before, we never raised these.
Correct,
Right. Right.
correct.
So just the food permit fees we're talking about?
Yes.
Is that it?
Yep.
Okay. And these new recommended fees, are they in line with the surrounding communities?
We're higher.
Right.
Yeah,
What we had?
we're higher than surrounding communities.
For what, for the food?
Food permits.
But we also have a bigger,
We
we're a
have
bigger
three
city.
and- correct.
We have more restaurants.
Correct,
Which
correct,
means more time, which means more cost.
right.
How much higher, you know? Not crazy, right?
It's not crazy,
We're not gonna be able to, I can say.
no, no,
Higher than Boston, right?
no.
Well, I will also remind the board that the last time we raised the food permit fees, we actually took out a fee. So we raised the food permit fees, but we got rid of the seats fee. So most everybody saw probably an increase of like 30 to 50. There may have been some people who saw bigger differences, high or low, but we increased fees but got rid of another fee. So it wasn't a huge impact on people.
Like the
What do you
milk
want this-
and.
Yes.
When will this take effect?
As soon as possible.
And you're saying the current fees,
Yeah, don't we have to
you're saying the current
advertise,
fees
tell people you're doing it, no?
barely cover the expense of doing the inspection?
Yeah, actually, as a matter of fact, line 76 should probably go up to 150. That's the rescore inspection, which actually requires 2
I
inspections.
thought you told me that.
So that should actually be, so the rescore is a voluntary inspection. If someone doesn't like their grade,
Well, that should definitely cost.
that they can choose to come in and say, I want to pay to see if I can get a better grade. So that should at least cover the inspections that it's going to cost from the food inspector.
So
I agree.
We'll cover it.
Yeah, and you know, the way Mike always explains it to me is that ISD doesn't make money. We're supposed to break even. We're not supposed to cost the taxpayers the money to go to a food establishment and do a food inspection. The food establishment is supposed to pay that cost, but we're not supposed to make money off of it either. So my time needs to be compensated for salary from the food permit. The food inspector's time needs to be compensated from the food permit. The rec camps, they pay for a permit, my time for the inspections. So that's how Mike has always explained it to me.
It's a level funded.
Yep,
So you want us to approve these changes in the numbers 63 through 78?
Yes.
and I think we just need to get rid of 51.
Which one?
51. Because anybody who's a local caterer will already have a food permit from us, so they don't need a catering permit.
Okay.
So Lisa, on this one here, right, 78 stays at 100?
78 stays at
You
100.
said 76 goes to 150, right?
Yes, permit upgrade is just for when someone is a type 1 and they're like, Lisa, we really want to sell pastelitos and hold hot dogs and pizza, so we're going to install a 3-bay sink and a hand wash sink and a dipper well, and
So we're not raising that one
so we are raising that one because we have to do an inspection.
to 150?
No, that one has
100.
recommended to go from 75 to 100.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep,
The one on 76 is the one with more than 150, right?
yes,
Okay.
yep. And that's just to cover the 2 inspections that the rescore inspection, the rescore program requires.
Yeah, we can't make money, but it's not supposed to put us in the,
Right, right.
They
Right.
seem reasonable to
because
me.
we know the inspectors are gonna really have inspectors, right, Michelle? Okay, I'm looking for a motion on the fee increase.
I make the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Old business, I don't, this would have been old business. New business, you're just aware of the coronavirus, which we are working diligently with other city departments, with our emergency management department, and we have, and CDC and DPH, and we are working with them. We, as you know, the governor declared a state of emergency today. We have meetings scheduled with the other departments, the mayor, school department, to determine going forward what we would do.
Was there gonna be a coronavirus meeting with the shelter, Lynn Housing, everybody? Do you already have
So
that?
we have, Lynn Shelter is on a, what we call our coordination team,
Right,
because there's a coordination team and there's a policy team.
right.
And the coordination team has a phone call, conference call every Monday at 10 a.m. so that we can tell them as to what had happened in the past week.
But is there a meeting planned in the future for like Lynn Housing, everybody to discuss coronavirus? No? I thought somebody told me that, I could be wrong.
No, but that's not, we can do that.
No, I don't want to do it, I thought
Well,
somebody said.
no, but
well,
we can,
I was gonna go on and go to it if there was one scheduled.
we are trying to stay in line with DPH and CDC. And that if there is, if there is a case that they refer to as a PUI, which is a person under investigation, then that's what we focus on. But Lynn has no confirmed cases at the moment. So
At the moment.
At the moment.
We don't have a hospital, Chuck.
That's
Let me ask you this too.
We are informed by DPH if there is a suspicion of a case or the confirmed case. The confirmed, like if someone has to go to test, they can go to Salem Hospital. Salem Hospital has set up something at the ambulance area so that you do not have to get out of the car.
Wow.
Yeah,
And
really
then-
hospitals were doing that.
Yeah, that you could go and.
You guys must be like,
And Michelle and I were speaking.
surprised you're not quarantined just to be safe.
Michelle and I were speaking earlier this evening, and I asked, I said, geez, you know how they bother you when there's a snowstorm or something on TV? Should we broadcast something to people? I don't think the Washington would, but I guess on the website.
On the
it's some
website,
good-
it does give that wash your hands, as I say, wash your hands till they fall off. With warm water for 20 seconds with soap, to try to do
I just
that.
don't hear a lot of public instruction for people where to go to find out what you gotta do. It's like everybody's waiting for me.
Well, I did send an email out, I don't know if you got a chance to see it, to all the food establishments today, reminding them of their requirements under the food code to prevent, cross-contamination.
Especially if there's a shortage of sanitizing.
And I
stuff,
did point them to the
where restaurants
website.
get it.
Yeah, and I did point them to the city website to say,
Good.
they're keeping the city website up to date, that the public health director, the mayor's office, emergency
I'm sure.
management are meeting regularly.
I didn't even think of it.
But also too, I think it's important that we also keep in mind the flu.
Right.
Whatever precautions, we want to be precautionary preventive, so that whatever precautions we enforce with the flu, I think that it's important that we keep with this virus issue.
It's only gonna get worse now.
It's hard to say, but I'd say yes.
And today I was telling, Michelle, Italy went from 100 and something to 600 and something people died. Not got sick, died.
Oh, really?
So I think that they're taking, Italy has closed Italy.
Yeah.
Right, to try to get a handle on it. I think fortunately, Massachusetts, don't forget, we are at a low priority, but I think it's important to try to be aware of your surroundings, to wash your hands, to use hand sanitizer, to, just pay attention to what your surroundings
A lot
are.
of medical staff in Massachusetts did a lot.
The other thing is-
Looks a good day.
Stay home if you're sick.
Yes.
Right.
I can
Super
tell you,
important.
from my standpoint, patients coming in for surgery, if someone had like a mild cold and their lungs were clear, we'd go ahead and let them have their surgery. Those type of patients are going to be canceled.
Oh, even
Absolutely.
now, wow.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So there's no question.
Well, nobody's vaccinated, so it's transmitting
no-
so
right.
easily.
I know.
Right.
Okay, we're all set.
I am.
Looking for a motion to adjourn?
Okay.
Second, all those in favor?
Uh,
Thank you very much, folks.
Thank you.
We made your money today.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.